Group riding is one of the best things about our sport.
It is. You can save lots of energy when you're out on your bike, you go faster, you can chat to people, and it's great for your skills.
But as a beginner, it can be quite nerve-wracking. You're riding close to one another, and just the thought of falling off might just scare you. But don't worry, because in this video, we're going to give you all the confidence that you need to ride in a group.
And we've got some friends!
Oh yeah, welcome! Dice en français, dice en español! Right, let's get into this video.
Riding in a group is great, but there are a few unwritten rules that we all need to know about to keep us safe and, well, to respect everybody else in the group.
Starting off with the most important one, and that is slamming on your brakes. This is the last thing you want to do because that's going to cause you guys to bunch up and potentially crash. So if you're thinking about slowing or you want to brake, try and do it gradually and let the team know before you do so.
Another one is getting up out the saddle, and when you're on your own, you probably don't even notice this. But when you get up, your bike will go backwards slightly, and you can imagine if someone is sitting quite close to your wheel, they could touch it and potentially crash. So you want to let the people know behind you that you're going to get out of the saddle. So you can do that by just giving them a little wave behind and then up the saddle, making sure they've got a little bit more room.
Like we said in the intro, the best thing about group riding is the speed. Now you can access that speed by using slipstream and drafting, those famous words in cycling. But to do that, you want to be around about 20 centimeters behind the wheel in front. And that means you save around 30% less energy than the guys working on the front.
And when you are that close to the wheel, 20 centimeters, you need to be aware and awake and know your surroundings. You want to have your hands over your brakes just in case anything does happen, and try not to stare right in front of the wheel. You want to be looking ahead in case there is anything coming, because when you are one behind the other, you can't really see that far ahead. So just kind of look as far as you can ahead. You should be good.
And the best thing to do is to relax. The last thing you want to do is be tense. That's how crashes happen. So relax, work your way up, and before you know it, you'll be riding in a group just like this. There are so many different ways to ride in a group and utilise the drafting effect and be efficient. But the most common way is this one we're about to explain now, and it's what's known as a chain gang. Now you can do a rotation left and right, can't we, Manon?
Yes, but that all depends on which way the wind is coming from. There's going to be a time where the riders get a little bit tired on the front, they've done their stint, so they're going to change. So if the wind's coming from the right, you're going to change to the right, and if the wind's coming from the left, you're going to change to the left. So I'm going to just let Hank know that I'm going to change, go ahead of him, make sure I'm past his wheel, and then like that. Easy.
I have to say, this is probably my favourite. Start off by leaving a lot of space, and as you get better and you get more confident, you can become a lot closer. And the closer you get, the more slipstream you're going to get. Hey, Manon.
Yeah, it's also important to be around riders that you trust, so you know that they're not going to slam their brakes on in front of you. You want to have mutual trust between all of you as well.
Next up, riding single file.
From chain gang to single file. Single file is a great one to start with if you are a beginner at riding in a group, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's where you all ride single file, one behind the other. And you often see a lot of pro teams use this method when they're doing their team lead-outs or team time trials. But when it comes to changing off the front, you want to have a look over your shoulder, make sure there's no cars coming, let the rider behind you know that you're pulling off, and then go to the back of the bunch.
Yeah, now this is a super popular way to ride in a group. Now, if you're in a small group, it's probably best. Now, what I would say, though, is this can be a really fast way of gaining ground, because if you feel like you're the stronger rider, you can do a longer turn on the front. And if you're struggling, well, you can do a bit less, sit on the back and enjoy that draft effect. Today, I'm not feeling that strong, so well, I'm gonna let Florian and Bernat do the majority of the work. Woo! Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Oh, it's so good to have good friends. Thank you.
When you're the rider on the front, you have the responsibility of everybody behind you. So you need to keep them safe. So make sure you communicate with them if there is anything coming up ahead. And that brings us nicely onto our next topic.
Warning signs.
When you're riding in a group, you can't always see what's coming up ahead, especially if you're a few riders back. So that's really important that the two riders at the front communicate what's coming up on the road.
Yeah, the lead riders have the responsibility of the entire group. Now you can let people know what's coming up by signalling, or you can use your voice too. Now I highly suggest you do both, because sometimes the riders behind might not have seen the gesture you have done. So let me give you an example of how to do it. Ho!
Oh,
Yeah. Now, the louder, the better. Now, this can also, for surface, so road surface, potholes and rocks in the road, maybe even debris. But you can also think about signalling and shouting for directions, like left and right, or even stop. There you go.
We also have a video on all the different hand signals, because there is a lot to learn, especially when you're on your bike. So go and check that out if you want to find out more about that. Oh, watch the squirrel.
Like I said before, the great thing about being in a group is utilising your team and that draft effect. But every time you ride in a group, there's going to be a moment where you're going to have to hit the wind. Yeah, you're going to have to work harder to push that wind away. But there's always that person in the group where they refuse to do a turn, and they're known as the wheel sucker. Hey, Manon.
Yeah, I am known as the wheel sucker, and I have used every excuse under the sun not to come to the front. I've had phone calls on my bike, I've needed to eat something, I'm looking at my navigation, tighten my shoes up. But there are only so many excuses I can come up with, and sometimes you do have to go to the front and help your mates out. But yeah, you can use a few excuses, but every now and then, just give them a turn. All right, I'll come through.
Come on, Manon.
Come on!
I'm
Come
coming.
on, Manon.
Happy now? Okay, I'm here. I've catched the wind. Right, I need a few more excuses now. Oh wait, I've got a phone call now. Sorry. I'm gonna sit on the back, okay? Oh, hi, Mum. You okay? Oh, you made a cake. That's nice. In this video, we've spoken a lot about how a chain gang or riding in a group can help you ride faster. But it doesn't always have to be full gas everywhere you go. It's good, before you go out on the group ride, to get an understanding of the level of the group, how fast they want to go. Do they want to just, ride to the cafe, have a bit of a chat, enjoy themselves? Or is it a bit more, a full-on race, and are you trying to drop everybody and be the last one standing?
Yes, now if you want to do a group ride and you want the whole group to stick together, but you're feeling good, now you can deploy your power in different areas. Now, if you're going downhill, the rider on the front's going to need to work harder than the riders in the back. So technically, you can go a bit harder. But if you come to an incline or a climb, you need to ride to the slowest rider. That way, you'll all keep nice and together. The key to remember, though, is to communicate. Easy! If you're struggling on the back, then the riders at the front know about it. And if you're feeling good on the front, you can ask the riders behind if you want to go harder or easier. Just like so. Guys, do you want to go harder? Harder? Right, let's go. Now this is what's known as racing. This is where the rider on the front wants to deploy all their power and see if you can drop the riders on the back. But this has to be explained at the beginning of the ride. The last thing you want to do, well, your friends will become enemies real quick.
So those are some of our top tips on how to ride in a group. And if you do go out on your very first group ride, let us know how you got on down in that comment section.
Yeah, make sure you deploy these skills and advice we give you, because the last thing we want to do is see you lose friends. Ultimately, we want you to gain friends, enjoy riding in a group, and share the love of cycling. Let us know in the comment section below. Give this video a big thumbs up. We'll see you in the next video.
Woo!